Okay.
I think we're good and prepared. Ooh, spotlight. Well done. All right. So, Jason Steele, I've got some questions for you because
Yes.
I want to find out, and I appreciate you making time. As a high school tennis coach, I got a couple of questions for you. And then I've got a couple of questions for you as a parent, as a real person, not just a high school coach.
Okay.
But in this case, my first question is talking about this T2 high school tennis league that comes out next month. GoTennis and T2 have come together to create a high school tennis league with no pressure. There's no ranking points right now. There's no UTR rating system. None of that matters. It's just extra matches. And that is really my first question. So, as a parent of a high school player, Jason, you know the pressure added by points and rankings and ratings to all those other matches and the tournaments and everything else. And now there's a league where your kids can play without any external pressure. As a parent, not necessarily as a coach, as a parent, how much can you appreciate that?
Well, I really appreciate that because it's a league for all sorts of skill levels. To where if you have a child who's just wants to start playing tennis, this will give them a chance to learn and grow. And if you have a more experienced or intermediate player, you know they they rank the league, so they'll be playing against players in their competition, but they can go out there and play without the pressure to where they're not worried about, like you said, rankings or points or UTR. They can just go out there and mainly work on their game and have fun and get the experience they need. So I think a lot of players, one of their fears, and as being a parent, is just going out there with that pressure. And so they don't enjoy that pressure, and they have this fear of losing and losing points or letting teams down. This way you just go out there and it's a match, you're keeping score, but it's more let me practice, let me improve my game.
And you said have fun. And that really is the point.
Yes.
That's one of the things a parent wants. That's one of the reasons we want our kids to get into something like tennis, or whether it's another sport, that's fine. But we want them to have fun. And it shouldn't always be pressure. And as a parent, even those UTR and USTA and those tournaments and those events, aside from the pressure, there's a time commitment. You got to drive across town. If you're lucky, there's one nearby. But it's also either a full day on Saturday, or if it's a UTR event, it could be a full day and you get a bunch of matches in, and that's good. Maybe even better than a full weekend of sneaking out of school early on a Friday, which was always fun for us to get to a tournament match. But then your whole weekend's nuked. I mean, it's just you're doing that the whole time. And families don't always want to spend every weekend playing tennis. That's got to be appreciated as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the flexibility is key. Like my daughter um, doesn't can't stand tournaments where you don't know, how many matches you're going to play exactly, and you get there, and then if it's raining, you got to spend the whole day, the whole week in there, and it's almost to the point where sometimes she's like, "Man, if I keep winning, I got to keep playing. I got to stay here all day long," and it really takes the joy out of it, and it ruins the whole weekend. And kids these days want to do things on the weekends and not use the whole weekend for a tennis tournament, to where now you have the flexibility to play weekend during the week, exactly when you're going to play, and who you're going to play, to where you go play that match and you get that match experience without sitting around all weekend waiting for the tournament schedule to come out.
Yeah, or driving across town, wondering if you're going to play all weekend and losing your first
Yes,
match and going home. And
correct.
that's the
Yeah.
other thing, is you plan a whole weekend around tennis, and now all of a sudden you got nothing to do.
Yes.
So now I
Absolutely.
want to I want to switch to your coach, but put on your coaching hat. And why is it important that this league offers players the matches in the fall? Is September is October and November matches that should be relevant going into January, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So the tennis season, high school tennis season, doesn't start until January. So they need players need an off season to where they can get, matches in and get that experience. And so having the season start in late fall, they are ready for tryouts in January. So they're not, especially if there's high school players, they might not have played another meaningful match since last high school season. So this way, this gets them ready and prepared because, the tennis season, is short and intense. So there's not a lot of, practice time before the matches start. So, we'd love to have our players already, playing matches, in quote, in match, form, not, being ready for play matches, middle to end of February. I mean, it's too late because matches usually start early February.
Yeah, and how many of your players, not you specifically, but how many of your players as a high school coach don't play other than high school? Because there are plenty of players out there that just, hey, I like playing high school. Maybe I drill a little bit in the summer, but they're not necessarily 5-day a weekers like we were back in the day. They're playing every once in a while, and this really gets them 5 matches at least, and then maybe playoffs. Gets them so much more available and ready. Available is probably the wrong word. Ready to go when January comes around.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would say on my team, I would say like out of every 10 players I've had on a high school team, maybe 4, the most 5 are playing tournaments year round. But
and that's
at
probably
least half.
high. That's probably
Yeah,
high because your teams are good. Imagine the
yeah,
teams
yeah,
that
yeah.
don't have
We're
those
top
high
teams.
level
Yeah,
players.
yeah, and so low other teams might not have any, but yeah, but even like a top state team, like South Forsyth, at the most half the team are going to be tournament players, where the other half uh, don't play tournaments, and they literally, like I said, just play high school matches. So they come into tryouts at the beginning of the season, where the last time they played a match was their last high school match the season before.
Yeah, and that you as a coach, do you not go to the booster club right now? And do you not text all your players and all the potential players? And after your interest meeting, which probably has already happened this year, to say who's interested in tennis, go play this league, go find a doubles partner. You're not going to play singles. Get over it. We all know
Yes,
that they're trying out for a doubles spot. Go get some practice. I can only imagine myself as a high school tennis coach just telling everybody go. And that leaves my last question, because for you, you've got a personal reason to want them to play, because the league also sends you data from this from this league, from the match results. They can send you that, so who's putting in the work, especially if they're not, the academy kids are putting in their work, they're already playing, tournament players are already playing, but the kids that haven't picked up a racket since April, you really want them playing.
absolutely. So the data shows me, like you said, that who's serious, who wants to, get better, who's playing, who is, stepping up to become a better player. And the other thing is about this league that I think is very important is the whole doubles aspect. Like, if you're trying out for a high school team, there's 3 lines of singles, 2 lines of doubles. So you have 3 singles players and 4 doubles players. So you have more doubles players that are going to make the team and play. And I tell my players that improving or getting better in doubles is the best way to make a team or to get into the starting lineup and play matches. And so, finding a doubles partner, joining this type of league, playing those doubles and getting that experience is going to be huge. And as a coach, if I see these teams or players who play in this league and get that experience, that's going to, show me, their improvement and how serious they take, wanting to play high school tennis.
And even some of those players I mentioned earlier, before we started talking here, I mentioned that I've got 2 girls that want to try out for the team at their local high school. They've never played a match. So in this case, at least you have a name that says this kid went out and played some tennis. And maybe they didn't win a game. Maybe they didn't win a match. Who knows how well they did? But you know what? They went out and did everything they could to get prepared to join your team.
Yeah, absolutely. As a coach, that's the kind of, effort that we're looking for.
Yeah, and aside from whether or not they're good, they're gonna be that teammate that you're gonna want. I would definitely think.
Yes, yeah. So like that's definitely, like I said, the attitude and effort that we're looking for, and that is a good way to for them to, show the coach, you know, that they're doing that because a lot of players can say this and say that, but this way, like you said, there's actual data, and as a coach, you can look and see that what they're saying is true.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, Jason, I got one more question, and it's my favorite question
Okay.
because I get to ask everybody we talk to if they were king of tennis, what would they do? And it's really a lot of fun because we like to hear those great ideas that somebody says, if I could make it more affordable or make it more some of those things of I really want to do good for tennis. If I could do some good, or at least looking at something and say these changes need to be made within my niche, or just looking out. I know you've been in the high school tennis world for a while. So I want to ask you specifically in the high school world, if you can keep it to that, if Jason Steele was king of tennis, king of high school tennis, and I'll even just say Georgia, it doesn't matter, king of high school tennis, is there anything you would do or change?
Yeah, I mean for Georgia high school tennis, I'll if I can make a couple of changes, doesn't sound like a big deal. But one, I would like to change the lineup format. It's more of a USTA, maybe Alta format, to where I would like to make it more like a college format where you have six singles players and three doubles lines, to where players can play both doubles and singles if they want to, instead of kind of like, where they have it now. And I guess the other thing I would do is I would like to maybe, if I could, change the season to start maybe, you know, right when school starts in August. So we're not starting in January and February when it's, below 30.
This is true. The January tryouts are always
Yes.
miserable, but I think the good thing about playing in the spring is you're not competing with football, and high
Yeah.
school football is kind of a big deal here in Georgia. It's never been my thing personally, but
Yes.
I don't know that I want to be the one that says, do I want to go to the football game or the tennis match? We have a feeling probably what most people in Georgia would choose. But
That's true.
I do believe myself. I think that right around my birthday is the best weather in Georgia. My birthday is at the end of September, so I always take the top down on the
Right.
triumph. Mid September to Thanksgiving, really, I think is phenomenal weather. And we've started this league to where we're going to start the second week of October, and we're going to end right before around Thanksgiving. And then we're going to have a huge city finals event at the end. So we're pretty excited about it. I wanted to remind you, I think you and I have talked about some other things that we highlight in this, where we talked about the no points and no rankings, no ratings. There are going to be plenty of people that are going to say, hey, why don't you report to UTR now that the Georgia High School Association has announced UTR as the official rating system? And we will definitely take a look at that. But the flexibility is really important, and the data going to the coaches. If you're a high school coach, I can only imagine how much I would call me and thank me. It's not just me doing this, but
Right.
how I would call up T2 and say, hey, Mr. T2, I'd like to say thank you because you're getting the kids the matches that they need, and you're telling me about it. And that's going to help me with tryouts, which might be the most stressful time for a lot of coaches, especially
Absolutely.
first year coaches that may not know how to do that. You're going to see players they've never seen before. They have no data. They have no way to do it. And this league, all that data helps as well quite a bit. So I really appreciate your time, Jason. We will be in touch because you're actually quoted on one of our flyers, I think, that we've got.
Yeah.
With your quote of state champion high school coach Jason Steele on there. But
That's
we
right. Well,
appreciate. Yep.
I've reached out to a lot of my other fellow high school coaches about the league, and they're all very excited because, like you said, that they get their players who aren't playing tournaments, especially the doubles players, extra matches before the season starts. And because, they want to see their players, getting that experience, and they can use the data, but getting out there and playing to where, when we start in January, they're not quote rusty, starting almost seems like we're starting over. They're ready to go, and so by the time the season starts, we can get the best performance from them.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that the coaches are going to like, and we've got plenty of it. It just seems like a giant win-win to me.
Yes.
Jason Steele, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. We will be in touch.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.